What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm at one of the coolest gyms in the world, NextGen. This is also part 1 of a 2-part series at NextGen, so let's get right on into it. Alright, so here are the grades. I'll mostly be working on some dark blue tapes, some brown tapes, and even a few purple tapes. But first, we got to warm up, so after a few easier climbs, I got on this green tape slab, which had some pretty good handholds, but some of the positions were a little hard, but it's a really fun climb. I also had the wrong beta for this last move because when I hit the hold, I just barn doored off. This time when I got here, I put my left foot on the little foothold rather than my right, and that made it so I wouldn't barn door off the hold anymore, and I was able to get the send. Next was this red tape slab, and this thing was a lot harder than I was expecting. On this first attempt, as I was going for the move, my foot just slipped. After getting up there, I went for the move, but I had a little too much momentum and I just kind of peeled off the wall. This time I made sure to control the momentum a lot better, and I stuck the move, but the hand was so bad, and it was this terrible small like crimp pinch thing, and then when I got into the last hold, it was even worse, and I just had to pinch like super hard to be able to match it. I also decided to try this dark blue tape one, but these volumes were so bad by this point. They just had so much rubber on them, and they were like basically no friction. And like even if they had friction, they were so like low profile. I don't know how you would stand on them. It's nuts. Next, I moved on to this yellow dark blue tape, and this climb is actually really cool, but these feet are super slippery and they're at like a weird angle, so they're pretty hard to use. This time, I made sure to trust my feet more and also get into a better position to use them, and I made it back to the elevator doors on the crimps, and I tried to get my foot over, and it felt kind of possible, but pretty far. Climbed into this position, and I tried to figure out a beta, and I tried to match the smaller crimp, but that just felt super hard, but I also decided to try the last part because it was pretty cool. The last move is this cool mantle on a small no-tex edge, but it's really good. This time I was going to try really hard to find a good position to match the small crimp, but when I got into the position I still didn't feel like I could really like match it, but the left hand was actually pretty good and I was able to like flip it and kind of pinch it, and it was pretty good, and that made the next move pretty easy. And yeah, I'm super happy that I got the send of this climb because it's just a super sick climb. After that, I moved on to this red brown tape, and I thought that these two flat hold macros were going to be a lot worse, but they were actually pretty good, and I was able to move pretty well on them. And then the cheetah volcano is pretty much a jug, but once I got up to that right hand crimp, I just couldn't really figure out what to do because the position was like pretty awkward, even though the finish hold was a jug. The two start feet of this climb are also dual text, so you have to be like pretty precise when you put pressure on them, and also just hit the left hand pretty bad. Then I had a few goes where I just had to kind of relearn how much momentum I used on that first attempt. I just kept kind of like using too much or too little momentum. But I dialed it all in, and I decided that this time when I get to the crimp that I was gonna like piano match it because it's actually a pretty good crimp. It was a little bit harder to match it than I thought it was going to be, but I made it work and I got the send, so pretty happy with that. After that red one, I moved on to this purple brown tape. That was actually the first time I stuck that first move because I had tried this climb in a previous session, but I was using the wrong foot. But now I knew that you had to like use the left foot and then jump it up after the first move. This climb was also super physical after that first move. Like, it was a lot of compression and power on the middle part with these 360 slopers. And then you also have to do the big move up to this decent pinch. And then you have to go up right hand to this like semi-blocked crimp, but by this point you're pretty tired from all the physical moves. I tried this top part a few more times, and going for the crimp, it was also pretty hard to keep the right foot on because it was like a small foothold, and it was also at like a bit of a weird angle. Holding the swing on the pinch is what really takes like the most power out of you for the next move because you have to pinch pretty hard, and then I just kept foot popping going for the crimp, which meant I had too much momentum going up. I climbed up into that position on the pinch, and I figured out that when I go for the move I should use less momentum and do more of just a pull with my arms, and that made it possible to hit it pretty good. Now it was time for the send go. So I rested for a little bit. I also went and stood in front of the fan for a minute because it was pretty hot in the gym, so I tried to cool down as much as I could. I made sure to try and have as little swing as possible when I released the toe hook, and then just execute my beta. And I was able to do it, and I'm super happy with this send, and I think that this climb might be one of my favorite climbs that I've ever done because it's just a super sick climb. I decided to try a purple tape after having some success with those brown tapes, but purple tapes are just on another level here. I think that I could actually do this one if I was a bit stronger in the super spanned out positions, so that's something I'll have to work pretty hard on. This is also the last climb for part 1, and part 2 will be out next week, so stay tuned for that. The middle part of the climb was probably the hardest part though, because I almost like stuck the last part off camera. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have part 2 out next week, so please subscribe and leave a like.